Have you ever wondered why you can have plenty of stored fat and yet you're still hungry? Well, if leptin is supposed to be the hormone that tells your brain that you have plenty of stored energy, why is it not working? Leptin is a hormone made by your fat cells, and its job is to tell your brain, to communicate to your brain that you have plenty of stored energy. And so the more fat that your body produces or accumulates, the more leptin in your body. Now, I know leptin is referred to as a hormone, but it's more like a signaling would be more accurate. Look at it as a gauge, a fuel gauge on your vehicle. It tells you how much fuel your vehicle has. So when that gauge gets to empty, you know that it's time to get fuel. But if your vehicle is full of fuel and the gauge is broken, it doesn't correctly communicate the signal to you where your fuel is at in your vehicle. It's the same thing with leptin signaling. Your brain does not know where you're at as far as energy because the signal is broken. So when leptin is working properly, what happens is you'll eat, fat cells have stored energy, the leptin signal tells your brain, goes to your brain and tells your brain that you have energy in your fat cells. And so your brain says, we're good. Reduce the hunger. And so appetite decreases, metabolism stays normal, and it creates this simple feedback loop between your fat cells and your brain. So where's the breakdown in the system? Well, the breakdown is when we're obese, like I was obese, leptin levels are not low, they're high. They're constantly elevated. And so what happens over time with all this leptin going back and forth to your brain is that your brain stops listening to the signal. So it completely ignores the signal. So if your fuel gauge on your vehicle is working and you put a piece of duct tape over it and you can't see it, it doesn't matter where the gauge is at. You're not communicated where the signal, where your fuel is at. You don't know. It's the same thing with leptin resistance. Your brain completely ignores the signal, so it doesn't know where you're at energy-wise. So you could have plenty of stored energy. It doesn't matter. Your brain is not seeing that signal, or it's not responding to that signal. This is leptin resistance. And because your brain is no longer seeing that signal, it doesn't know where your body is at energy-wise. It automatically assumes that energy is low. Starvation is happening. We need more food. Despite the fact that your body has plenty of stored energy, your brain still thinks that you're starving. That's the disconnect. So where does insulin come to play in this ball game? So chronic elevated insulin changes the game. Why is that? Because chronic elevated insulin promotes fat storage. And so now your body is accumulating more fat, which means it's accumulating more leptin, which means your brain is bombarded by the signal. And to pile on is chronic inflammation and metabolic dysfunction, which impairs the brain's ability to hear leptin. And so the signal gets blocked. This is how insulin plays a role in leptin resistance. So when you eat, when you consume food, and you're hungry again just a few hours later, this is why. These are the mechanisms that's in place. So you're not hungry because you lack willpower. You're hungry because the signal is broken. So because the signal is broken, your brain thinks you're starving, you're low on energy, which triggers ghrelin, the hunger hormone. And so ghrelin's job is to force the hand on food consumption because it thinks you're starving. It's a survival mechanism. But when you're metabolically healthy, all of these systems work perfectly together. These hormones and these signals, all of that works perfectly together. But when one is broken or tripped up, it throws a wrench in the entire process. It sucks us into a hunger trap. So leptin doesn't fail because you lack discipline. It fails because the metabolic signaling system is broken. But here's the beauty of this system, and this is the part that gets me excited, is when you start consuming the right foods, which is at the root of the underlying problem, Your body has this insane ability to heal itself. It will fix all of these problems if you just consume the right foods that allow your body to heal itself, to lower insulin, to regain your signaling between your fat cells and your brain. You can repair the breach. And what happens when you do that is that you're not as hungry because you're consuming your stored fat now. You can access the refrigerator again now. You have all of that food in the fridge and can't get to it. Well, when your body heals itself, now you can access it. You don't have to go buy groceries anymore. You can access what you have already. So you're not constantly consuming food. You're burning your own stored fat. And now the scale is going down instead of up. Chronic metabolic dysfunction, including persistent elevated insulin, contributes to leptin resistance. The MAP30 challenge is based on this stuff. It explains all of this to you in detail because understanding how food consumption works is the yellow brick road to your weight goals and health goals. So I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video. Bye for now.